Welcome to the stream. So in this stream we are going to try to build a bill splitting application using Vanilla JavaScript. So the project idea is very simple. So like imagine like five friends are going to a restaurant and having dinner, and they get an bill amount and they want to put equal share. So we want to calculate how much each and everyone should pay. So the app will have the input option for the total amount of the bill and the number of friends. And once we take in that input, we will do a calculation and we will display the result onto the screen. So that's the basic project idea, and let's start building it. So as usual, I always start my projects by going to my CSS first, and let's set the margin of every element to 0 and padding of every element to 0 and box sizing to border box. Then let's add some, to make things interesting, we will add a background color to the body. Background color, and I'm using colorsui.com to pick a background color, and let's use some purple in here, and I'm going to add a height of 100 VH, and we will add some display properties so that we can center our app inside the window. So display effects and justify content center and align items center. And for now that's enough. Now let's jump into the HTML. So far we have just wrote the CSS for making like every element to have a 0 margin and padding of 0 and box sizing set to border box. And in body we have given background color and height of 100 VH, and we have set some display properties which doesn't mean anything now, but once we add um, our bill splitting app, it will be centered on the web browser or the web page. So now let's start with the HTML. So we can give a main tag. We can give a main tag which will have the full application and the full bill splitting application. And inside that we can give a header which will have the heading of our application, and which here we can say bill split, bill split, bill splitter. You can name it whatever you want. And one thing before continuing, what we can do is we can also set a font, Google font. We can pick any Google font and we can set them. So I'm going to choose Open Sans in here, and so you can go to fonts.google.com and you can pick any font of your choice. So first we have to import it. So I'm importing it here in the CSS. Then inside the body, I'm saying that font family should be Open Sans or else sans serif. Okay, now our font will change to Open Sans just to make things a little bit better looking. Then what we can do is we can also say that our title or the font inside the application should have some color. So here we can say about the background color. Inside the body we can say color should be something like this white color. Okay, so now we have imported the CSS and we have set the overall font family and the color. Now we can come to, okay, in the inside header we have given the app name. Then we can move towards, okay, now we need a section in here. Inside the section we will have input fields. Input field, okay, so we can put it to number because we will be taking input in the amount will be number and friends will be number, so we can make the type, we can put the type as number. So what happens is when someone opens the application on a mobile browser, mobile in a smartphone, the keyboard that opens up will be already a numerical, so it will be a user, it is a matter of user making it user friendly. So here we should also give it an id. We can give it an id of amount, or we can say, yeah, amount is fine. We can give it an id of amount, and maybe placeholder, we can add a placeholder that says enter the bill amount. And we can, and the another button, sorry, another input we'll be having is for taking in the number of friends. So this will be friends, the id will be friends, and we can put a placeholder in here that says enter number of friends. Okay, okay, maybe we can wrap it inside a div tag. We can wrap every input inside a div tag, maybe. I mean, it's just preference, I just choose to do it this way. Okay, so now we have everything in its own line. Then what we need is, we need a button that says to calculate. So here inside another div we can say button, which will say calculate, and it will have, okay, so let's keep it like this for now. So that's our basic HTML for now. Okay, we can start with styling this thing now, then we'll add things as it comes up. Okay, so now let's jump into the CSS. So first we want to target the main, and we should set a width of 400 pixels and a background color, and I'm going to pick some random color. Maybe we can, okay, so now I'm actually going through picking some color. You might not be seeing it. Okay, I have choose this color. Oh, that's very too harsh on the eyes. So we need something like this. Okay, this looks fine, I believe. Yeah, this looks fine. I mean, you can always edit your styling as per your preference. The functionality is what we are focusing here. So now, okay, so now we have added that. Then we can say, we can set padding of 0.5 rem, maybe 1 rem. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Maybe you can even give a border radius if you choose to. Border radius, you can say like 10 pixels. It gives this look. Then we can, okay, now let's move on to header. Actually, inside the header you can say, and say maybe text align center, and let's see what happens. Okay, now it goes, the title is now centered, and you can, maybe if you want, you can give it a background color or something like that. You can make the application fancy, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. And maybe we can give some margin of 1 rem, to the header, so that we get some more space. Then inside the section, where we'll have the inside section, we are going to say, okay, inside section we can say display flex, and that will, okay, now we have to say flex direction column, and we can say Okay, let's see. Let's inspect and see what's happening actually. Now here we have a section and width. Okay, so we need to give. Okay, so now this is good. Now what we have to do is we have to target the input element and we have to add some styling to that. So here we can say outline none, border none. Okay, good, that works. Now we need to say width of 100% so that we can get the full-blown effect. Okay, I mean, again, the design choices are just our own preferences. You can choose to go ahead with any design choices. So for now, okay, then input should have some padding and a top and bottom one rem and maybe two rem on the left and right. That gives us this. Then we need some margin. Margin is 2.5. We can give a margin of 0.5 rem and see what happens. And we get this something like this. And this looks pretty good or pretty okay actually. We can add some border radius to make it look little better. You can go for like 2 rem and that. Oh, but that looks good. That just made the whole thing look much better now. Okay, now we have enter the bill amount, enter the number of friends. Maybe we can increase the font size in here. 2 rem. I mean that might be too big, so we can come to 1 rem and maybe 1.2 rem. Okay, and that looks pretty decent now. Okay, now the input field is looking much better. Uh, yeah, input is looking much better. What's happening with the head? H1 tag, is H1 tag bold enough? We can say H1 font weight bold. This folder, I believe. Maybe font size could be increased to something. Font size 1.5 rem. Okay, that actually makes it small. 2 rem. 0.5. Yeah, now our heading is looking much better, I believe. Now we have to target the button and we should give some love to the button. And for that we can come here and we can say button. We will say outline none, border none. Then we can say padding is 1 rem. Okay, this is what you get, 1 rem. And you can say border radius maybe 2 rem. We'll see. And it gives us this. Then we can say font size 1.2 rem. And that makes it look pretty good. Or you can go for 1 rem. Or padding should maybe, there should be more padding here. Yeah, now that looks much better. And maybe we can have a margin top of 1 rem. Okay, so we can now, okay, now our button is pretty much done. Okay, we can add a cursor to pointer. Okay, now that's done. Maybe we can also make the font weight to bold. Yeah, now that looks much better now. And input can have a padding like a 1.2 rem, maybe 5. Yeah, that looks much better now. So now we are done with our styling for these elements. Okay, now styling is pretty much done. So again, as always, when we get some project ideas or when we are about to when we are doing some project ideas, we have to break the things. So what's the first thing we have to do? for to implement the functionality in JavaScript is when someone enters the value in the values, we have to capture it, and when they click calculate, we have to store the values. Okay, so let's start. So we have to first target the, so with JavaScript first we have to target and select the DOM elements. So first what we can do is we can say let amount input equal to, then we can say document dot, basically you can use get element by id, but recently the new syntax or the new way of doing things is that we are using document dot query selector. So I'm going to use document dot query selector, and here I can say amount. Okay, then here I can say friends input equal to document dot query selector, and that has an ID of friends. Okay, no errors so far. Then what we have to do is okay, so when the values are done, when the calculate button clicks, we need a function to fire. So let's create a function named calc, and for now let's just console log the amount input dot value and friends input dot value, and we have to attach the function into the button calculate, and we are assigning to the event on click event, and we are calling the function here calc. And now let's also open the console and let's see what happens. So now if I write here 25 rupees and two friends, now when we do, we are getting 25 and 2 here. So basically we are getting the input. Okay, so now that's done. Okay, so as always, again, there is multiple ways you can implement a project, but yeah, so you can always come and improve your code, or you can make it more optimized. So for now I'm just choosing this way. This might not be the best perfect way to do it. So yeah, so always keep learning and looking forward to improving your code base and see how you can simplify the code base and make it more optimized. So now, okay, so now what we are going to do is we have to check if any of the input is invalid. Okay, not invalid if the value is empty. So here we can write an if statement saying if amount input dot value equal to empty, console log amount needs to be filled in. And now let's try to do it without entering that amount. We can just write something like 25 in here and see we get it like amount needs to be filled in. Now again we have to implement the same for this. Again, as I said, you can do it multiple ways. Like here you can do is the real calculation only happens when the values are not empty. So maybe we can amount. Okay, here what we can do is if amount dot value is not equal to empty and friends input dot value not equal to empty, Here we will execute our main function here. So main calculation happens here, and here let's write an else if statement, or maybe I'll have to Google how to do else if statement. JavaScript else if statement. Okay, so yeah, you always need to, I mean, you're not always required to, but when you face some doubt or confusion, you can always just jump in, just do the search and figure things out. So basically, I also work with Python, so I get confused with the syntax. In Python, it is else and not else if. There is a difference in there. So now here we can see is amount, if amount input dot value equal to empty, then we can just paste that code here which says console.log amount needs to be filled in, and same here again, else if friends input dot value is empty, go ahead and do a console log where you say uh, number of friends needs to be filled in. Okay, and maybe we can comment this for now. And now if we come here and do this, it says amount needs to be filled in. Okay, so now I write the amount here. Now if I do, it says number of friends needs to be filled in. Now if I do both, nothing happens because here we have not returned the code. Maybe we can write else. Okay, we can write an else statement also, which says that console dot log amount and number of friends needs to be filled in. So now what happens is, like, when both are not filled in, we get this error actually. Okay, so we can actually okay, so here what's happening is that okay, we have to say if both are not, if both are empty, we have to write this thing. So maybe here I can do and friends input dot value is empty, both are empty, we need to do this thing. So now if we come here and we do this, we get the amount and number of friends needs to be filled in. And if I fill this in and I do amount and number of, okay, and amount dot value equal to null and friends dot value is null, console dot log number. Okay, okay, so we are getting this error actually. So here I can say amount needs to be filled in. Now if I save and I try it out again, you can handle this in multiple ways. I'm just going to go this way for now. So I click here, it says amount and number of friends will be filled in. If I fill in this and I don't fill number of friends need to be filled in, and again if I make this empty and I say here 2, if I run this now, amount needs to be filled in. Okay, now that error part is working now. So what we can do is we can maybe create variables saying error string or error text, which will be an empty string on starting, and when we get some error like this, we want to set it to that variable. So We can copy this text and we can say error text equal to this, and maybe here you can just console log error text, and the same will happen here. We will take this out and we will say error text equal to this. Then we'll come to the console log and again we'll pass in the error text variable, and same for this here, error text equal to this, and here we'll pass in the error text here. Okay, so okay, so now we are getting the value thing here. So let's do the execution here. So when both are not empty, we want to execute and get a result. And what we can do is we can create a variable here, let result, and we can set it to a string for now. And here what happens is we can say, so here what's happening basically, when the bill amount and number of friends are not empty, we want to set result equal to eval function. We are using the eval function which will return us the mathematical it does the mathematical operation and gives us a result. So I will use the string literals here, and I will pass first the amount input dot value actually, or you can just create another variable and just pass it to the like amount and friend or something like that, or we can go ahead and use this method. And here again we have to divide it by friends input dot value, and maybe we'll just console log result and we'll see if it works. Result, and now let's add the amount. Let's say we spend like 100 rupees, and the amount is 100 and the number of friends is 5. Let's do the calculation. We get an error, friend input not defined, because it is friends with an a small typo enter, and we'll come here, we can say amount is 100 and friends is 5 again, and we get 20, and that is working. Okay, so our functionality behind the scenes, the calculation things are working. Now we need a place to display the results. So what we can do is we can again jump back into our HTML and we can say maybe create a section here, and section with an ID of display result, something like that. Display result, which will be, as the name suggests, it will display the result. This will have a div tag. This will have a div tag. Give maybe class message or display. You can name it anything. I'm just choosing message because we'll be also showing the errors in the. And here we can create an h3 tag, and for now create an empty h3 tag which will have the ID of result. Okay, 11 result. Okay. Okay, so now we can give some dummy data in here, 20 or something like that. Okay, so now we can see what's happening. Now we can do the basic styling. uh, so if you come here, you can say id display result has a width of 100% and background color is white by default. Maybe just to, maybe white is not a good idea. Okay, no worries, we are not okay, we'll change that now. Then the uh, tip message. Okay, let's target the message, and in here we'll say it has a padding of Turan. Maybe I'll just add some random background color so that we can see what's happening. Okay, so this is what's happening. You're getting this like here. So we can say the font size is bigger. You can say Turan, and we get something like this. Maybe that is too big. Maybe let's reduce the padding. 0.5. Okay, that looks good. Okay, maybe not even need that. We can just say text align center. Text align center, and we can give it a border radius of theorem, and that looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We can also maybe add the font weight, which is bold. We can have the font weight as bold, and let's save it. Okay, so this is how it looks. 20 rupees per person. Yeah, and this is how it looks. Maybe we need to make the font size little smaller, like 1.5, and the padding should be, padding is okay, so padding could be made bigger. Okay, it looks okay, it looks fine now. Maybe we can say 0 here so that there's no padding in the left and right. And we can say the section display result also has a margin bottom, which will be 1 rem, and that will push it like this. Okay, now things are pretty okay. Okay, so what now happens? What happens now? So here we are also adding in the CSS we will create 2 more classes, error, and with error what happens is we want to okay, when the error is that we have to set the background color of background. Let me find a red color. Man, I could, okay, yeah, I got red color. Okay, basically when the, okay, so basically when the display result has the div has a class of dot error, we want to make the background red, and when it has a background of success, we want to, sorry, when it has a background of dot success, yeah, class of dot success, we want to set the background color to green. I'm getting too excited, I think. Yeah, and now we are pretty good, I believe. We can remove this background color red from here and remove the background color white from here, and maybe remove this. Okay, and now we have this yeah. Maybe what we can do is we can by default set like mm, easily calculate. easily calculate split. Yeah, so for now just we'll just put this text. So by default this will be the display text that we'll be having. I think either just like a caption or something like that, and we can enter the amount. So then we have to think now what happens when someone, I mean, how to display the result. So first we have to target it. So we'll be changing this line which says easily calculate the split. That's where we'll be putting the that is where we'll be putting our the result value. So let's target them. So let okay, we can say display result equal to okay, and okay, result text equal to document query selector result. Maybe we might get confused with this too. Maybe we can change this to result text also. Okay, we can say result text, and yeah, so we now have so okay. So basically, once we get the result, we want to, instead of console logging, which will just comment out now, and here we can say result text dot text content equal to result, and let's see what happens. So basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to change this to the actual result. So let's try that. So let's say 100 and the number of friends are 5, and now we get 20 in here. So we can maybe put this in a string literal, and we can say result is a person. Okay, so now if we try to save it and we will run, it will be more descriptive, like 100 rupees and number of friends is 5. Let's do the calculation. We get 20 rupees per person. Okay, and okay, on top of that, when that happens, we want to give this message, the div class with message. We need to add one more class to it saying success, which will change our background color. So to add that, first we have to target the div element with the id message. So we can do here message div equal to document dot query selector, and we will say message and here what we can say is message div dot class list add success. I'm not sure about the syntax, it might work. Let's try to see if it works. First let's save it, then let's and the value and number of friends is again 5. Let's do it, and it works. We are getting a green background for the result, and we are seeing the result displayed properly. Pretty good. Now what happens when the if someone doesn't input that, because they will not be looking into the console. You should think about the user end user that will be using a product, so they won't be opening the console and checking. So we want to display it. So if there is an error, we want to display the error in here. In the place of the result, we will display the error, and for that we can say here, instead of console logging, we can just comment that down now. And here what we can say is we can change, okay, result text dot text content equal to error text, and let's see if that works. If I click here, I'm getting this big error section. And I also need the background to be changed. So remember, we in the CSS we gave, like, we created two classes, error and success, which has those colors. So here we are going to say is that message div, you need to add a class of error. And now if we come here and we try this, we're getting the result, and we are getting a background of red color. I mean, our project is red itself, so we are not able to see it properly. And maybe that's fine, or maybe we can just change it to something like this. Let me see. I mean, it's a visual thing, we don't care for now. We will just go ahead. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I try to. Okay, I think this is still this color was better. Yeah, so that's it. So now we have to look for other errors, like this happens now when both the fields are empty. Um, so let's add the same feature to other functions, not other function, other errors. So when the friend's input is empty, we want to say result text dot text content equal to error text, and we need to set the message div class list. Okay, so we need to set the message list class to have a class of error. Okay, now if I just if I enter 100 here, and if I do that, I get number of friends needs to be filled in. Perfect. And uh, when the amount is blank and it is given, we have to same thing here. Result text equal to, not result text equal to result text dot content equal to error text, and the message div dot class list dot add a class of error here. The same thing we are doing, the basically the same thing, just to give the user a visual clue. So now if we come here and say 100, the bill amount is 100 and the number of friends is 5. We do calculate, we are getting 20 rupees per person. Now if I leave both the values empty, and if I do calculate, okay, only number filled in. What happened? Okay, so else if amount. Okay, we also have to reset. Uh, it should be working. Let me check now. Come on, refresh. Save. Formatting to be good. Let me do a hard refresh. Okay, so now when the calculation is done here, if it's empty, we will set the background color. Did I miss something? If the friend's input or value is empty, this will run. Okay, let's see. If I do this, I get the error. If I type in the amount and I do calculate, I say number of friends need to be filled in. Now if I leave that empty and if I do 5 here, it says amount needs to be filled in. Now if I write this, if I do calculate, I get the answer correctly. So it's pretty much working. I believe there is no bugs. Okay. and go ahead, play with it, and see if there is any bugs or things that you could fix upon, or if you could improve the code in any ways. Feel free to do it. And yeah, the first thing is to write the first version, the first thing that comes to your mind, and then later on you can always improve the code and make it better. And as you make projects and as you make the changes, you'll get you'll improve yourself. So that's all. Hope you enjoyed the video. uh, yeah, make sure to spend some time coding and build projects, no matter how big the project is or how small the project is. Just build the project. Every project will have something for you to learn. So projects are very important. Don't fall into the tutorial hell, in which you will just keep on watching tutorials. That won't help you. You have to sit down and write the code that you learned from watching the tutorial. That is very important. So build projects. That's the last word. Build projects. That's all. So bye. Take care.